Bable Jonathan. You welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And our top stories in this edition of the news: administrative authorities in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon continue condemning separatist activities and reiterating the point that the bush is not the right place to solve any problem. And despite widespread condemnation, they continue referring to separatists or pro-independence fighters as terrorists. And in news out of the country, the Ebola outbreak remains a major health threat, a global health threat that is being indicated by the World Health Organization as a serious problem that has to be handled appropriately. Despite widespread condemnation, the authorities, notably administrative authorities in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, continue referring to pro-independence fighters as terrorists, and of course reiterating the point that the bush is not the right place to solve any problem. They have continued condemning separatist activities in the two Anglophone regions of President Paul Biya's country, and the crisis has continued deepening for close to 3 years today. And after the municipal and legislative elections of February 9, 2020, the authorities in the town of Kumba, notably the divisional officers of Kumba 1 and 2 subdivisions, spoke to a reporter in Kumba. Take a listen.
Despite the call from the terrorists, the secessionists, separatists on the population to boycott the elections, despite the imposed lockdown, I'm very happy in Kumba 1 subdivision the people came out in their number to say no. We are tired of terrorism. We are tired of your lockdowns and the uncalled for disorder that is with no headway. So, and that is the result of. The result is not only reflecting the victory for the CPDM, but the population is telling their brothers and sisters that this thing that they are running up and down every day in the forest, this is the result, that they should come out and join them in the moving trend, the trend for development, the trend for victory, and that the end for disorder.
The organization of an election, especially local elections, in which the participants are people of the same community, the same environment, it was not very easy. But I want to use this occasion to sincerely appreciate all the various actors concerned with the organization of the election. Each actor played his role very well. I want to appreciate the political parties with the maturity that characterized the campaigns. And on the day of the elections, I want to also appreciate the voters who would brave it and come out and vote massively. I want to use this occasion to congratulate the CPDM party that won, and to make them know that they have a very big job. The population has given them their mandate, so they have to work hard so as to merit that mandate.
And the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) political party won all the 3 councils in the town of Kumba, the Kumba 1, 2, and 3 councils. And in Anglophone Cameroon, generally the CPDM won majority of the councils and parliamentary seats in the northwest region of the country. For example, the CPDM won all the councils except the Bamenda 2 and 3 councils won by the Social Democratic Front SDF political party and the Social Democratic Front and the Patriotic Movement for a New Cameroon MPCN political parties are the big winners in the Lum and Njombe Penja in the Mongo Division, Littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. The results were released on Wednesday, that is yesterday, and we have details in this report by Smart Jikangebre.
It was with joy that the population of Lum welcomed the victory of the Social Democratic Front SDF party in the municipal elections. The list that was headed by the outgoing mayor Guy Kwate Wambo had an absolute majority win of 52.26% over other political parties who were contesting for the council like the CPDM, UMS and UNDP. Those who voted for me, I will say thank you, and to those who didn't vote for me, I will still tell them thank you, because with the act, we now know that everything wasn't okay. We started some work in Lum, and we shall continue from where we ended. The victory of the Social Democratic Front, which allows them to remain in control of Lum, is already being contested by the Cameroon Democratic Movement's party's head of list. We shall drop a complaint about the cancellation of this election at the administrative court because there were some irregularities. The result presented this day isn't the right one.
Je dis que je n'accepte pas, moi personnellement, ce résultat parce qu'il ne représente pas exactement la vérité sur le terrain.
The Njombe Penja Council is back in the hands of Paul-Eric Kinge. The Patriotic Movement for a New Cameroon party recorded a relative majority win during the municipal elections. The victory of MPCN brings back Paul-Eric Kinge to Njombe Penja, which he had left since 2008.
Il est temps que les populations de cette localité.
It is time for the population to live with the reality of what I have been preaching to them for a while now. I am asking the state to allow Paul-Eric Kinge to work, and it's a challenge for me to prove that we can do things in this nation.
Et moi j'ai envie de travailler, j'ai envie de démontrer que dans ce pays on peut faire des merveilles.
Meanwhile, SDF that was defeated at the Njombe Penja Council lives with its tail in between its legs.
Le service public est une continuité.
Administration is continuity. We had some projects we had already started. We hope that the new mayor will continue from there. I personally congratulate him. I have no problem with the results. We have been working together since morning.
À mon niveau, il n'y a pas de contestation puisque depuis le matin nous travaillons ensemble et il n'y a eu aucune irrégularité.
The Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation of Cabral Libi grabs 24 seats, SDF 6 and CPDM with just 3 seats was bottom at the municipal election in Njombe Penja.
And several opposition politicians, national and international organizations have discredited the municipal and legislative elections of February 9 in Cameroon. They are highlighting irregularities that are said to have marred the polls across the country. And to Edith Kabangwala, national president of the Cameroon People's Party, the CPP, there cannot be any credible elections in the Cameroon without a revision of the electoral code, and according to the CPP, this will only happen after a political transition because, according to them, President Paul Biya's regime will never allow that to happen. Innocent as he has more.
Having a decent electoral system in Cameroon under the Biya's regime, according to Edith Kawala, is a far-fetched dream.
They have been in place for 38 years. We have been asking for electoral reforms for 30 years. So it is clear that they are not going to deliver those reforms. These reforms will happen within the context of a global political transition. We are saying that as Cameroonians, we have to come out and put an end to this regime. Then sit down on a dialogue table and have a real honest dialogue where we discuss the elements of our colonial past, such as the war for independence, such as the Anglophone question.
Many other burning issues, she says, would be brought to limelight and discussed, amongst which is the electoral system that will guarantee transparent, fair, credible and just elections.
We have to sit down and develop a mechanism to have neutral parties, impartial parties who can conduct the elections. So the people at Elecam cannot be members of political parties, as the law says today, but it is being violated by the CPDM regime. They have to be people who are credible in society and to whom we have given the power to stand and hold an election without favor to any of the competing political parties.
Regarding the electoral code, the CPP national president says must be diluted with reforms like institution of a single ballot to avoid fraud during elections.
Multiple ballots, people go into the voting booth, they vote with one ballot, they take the other ballot, put in the pocket, go out and get money because they have voted for this particular party. If with a single ballot you eliminate that type of fraud. Most African countries have adopted this already.
Setting up a full biometric system.
We cannot have this sort of partial biometrics that we have currently. You go to get your voting card, it's biometrics. But on the voting day, you don't have a means to identify anybody using the biometrics. You then begin again with a manual system. It doesn't make sense.
Also, stop recruitment of 18-year-old citizens in the military for the war front, denying them their voting rights.
The nation is recruiting 18-year-olds to send them to die for our country. But that 18-year-old will refuse him or her the right to vote. It doesn't make sense. If you are old enough to die for the country, you should be old enough to vote for the person who may or may not send you to war.
Barrister Roland Jehu of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party holds a similar opinion, reiterating need for complete modification of the electoral system.
Comme vous le savez, il ne s'agit pas simplement d'une réforme du code électoral, mais il s'agit d'une réforme du système électoral dans son ensemble.
So as to win back the confidence of Cameroonians to participate in elections massively while expecting transparent and just results.
Innocent as a reporting there, and the report coming up next, Immaculate Fogwe brings updates on the celebration of the National Youth Day in some parts of the hinterlands in Anglophone Cameroon. A report.
First time since the escalation of the Anglophone crisis, few persons turn out at the Konye ceremonial ground to commemorate the 54th edition of the National Youth Day amidst lockdown imposed by separatist fighters. Pupils and students are absent. Only council workers and few administrative officials could be seen at the grandstand. Over in Bonge, still in the Mehmet division, the turnout was comparatively higher than Konye. Kids from nursery, primary and secondary school establishments answering present. Due to insecurity, some of them are unwilling to show their faces. In Messages subdivision, the Dungamantum division, northwest region of Cameroon, a massive crowd answered present at the Messages ceremonial ground to commemorate the 54th edition of the National Youth Day. The Messages grandstand hosted 2 nursery schools, 12 government primary schools, 3 mission schools and 4 secondary and higher learning institutions. Apart from the march pass, some outstanding students were awarded prizes. The massive turnout was saluted by Minister Fu Calistus Quentry, an elite of the area.
Came to thank the population, the administration, the elite family and the government. Through peace, we see joy in our children. And peace is what is created an enabling environment for normal activity to work.
He equally called on all the afflicted areas to follow the example of Dunga Mantum Division.
Violence is never a way to resolve it. Dialogue is a way, and the dialogue has given us a fruit. Our regional assembly, our special status. 2 days ago, we plebiscited for it in government. We've got everything. We've got 4 parliamentary seats, 5 councils, and this is what we want to call on the rest of the Northwest region to emulate the example of Dunga Mantum.
February 11th National Youth Day celebration in Messager also saw the participation of traditional rulers. But on a general note, the Anglophone crisis greatly affected the turnout of persons in the 2 English-speaking regions of Cameroon.
Coming up next, focus on IDPs in Douala and of course the Mongo division, particularly the localities of Lum and Njombe Penja, of course in the littoral region of the country, with Innocent and Immaculate Fogwe.
Chief Dr. Joseph Mufo hails from Santa Subdivision, Mesam Division of the Northwest region of Cameroon. He now resides in Makepe Misoke in the Douala 5 municipality. He is hosting over 300 internally displaced persons from the 2 English-speaking regions.
Today, the list I transferred to the DO of Douala 5, it was 314, but others have added. I transferred the same list equally to the Minister of Territorial Administrations with a letter. I equally wrote a letter to the head of state.
They sleep everywhere in the compound.
Les déplacés habitent ici, ils habitent ici, et d'autres dorment ici à la cour.
The house condition is not really favorable with us. We live in a carabout house. With mosquito, the condition has not really been easy with us. We pay 15,000 francs per month, but at the end of the month, we are even unable to pay the rents.
Feeding condition is horrible.
All my small they won't come out. They day now, even for chop. They are the final to feed them in no day.
A difficult moment for us to live where we were living and coming to a strange land. It has really not been easy with us.
Access to medication is equally a big challenge.
So one day they will come out for his skin, or you food them. So one day they will not even work.
She struggles to raise money and send her younger ones to school, but nothing seems to be moving.
We know they, so I cry.
We are people living with disability. I am my husband. My husband is he manufactures shoes. Arriving here in Douala, it was not really easy. He's really feeling difficulties to make himself being known to the world because of lack of capital.
To survive, they engage in petty trades and other domestic income-fetching activities.
As you can see, in short, I can say I'm a designer of shoes. But I left Bamenda unexpectedly. When I came here, I was just struggling, working with people left and right. It's just about 4 months ago, which I have a small place where I can sit and do something. Although it's not going, due to lack of finances left and right, I'm unable to succeed.
While wishing government's intervention, the impact created by Équinoxe Television during end-of-year festivities is applauded.
Had it not been Equinoxe, they could have not even enjoyed Xmas. They came here with cloth, they came here with food, with rice, with all kinds of things, oil soup, in order to rescue them, so that they should at least feel happy in order to end the year of 2019.
They battle to cope with the deplorable living conditions, but get more and more prayerful. The armed conflict ends for their possible return to their respective localities in the northwest and southwest regions. Most of the traders in this manga market in the Mungo division of the Electoral region are internally displaced women of the Anglophone crisis. They come from Ekona, Tombel and other localities in the southwest and northwest regions.
A stranger in a place of which you don't even, your foundation is not there. So we have to start afresh as if we are beginning life. So we really find it difficult with children.
Okoma Moyoka, life not easy. School fees over there, house rent for chop now, it's not easy. We really suffer for year.
To survive and ensure their children go to school, they sell arrow, watafufu and gari to raise some money. Some who have never done certain activities now have no choice.
And even know as the slice arrow conditions them, they don't make me, I don't turn now whom I wear the slice arrow when I think where I never do for my life. I don't cut my hand them. So life not easy with me, with my picking them for year.
It is the year 2020 and they expect the face of the armed conflict to change to peace.
One a piece, no one not to get one piece.
We pray, may all things work and more turn back because we're there for years, so life not easy for we.
Peace invoked even by their fellow French-speaking hosts. They attest the displaced women and their children suffer enormously.
Tant tu n'existes quelque chose dehors, ils prennent. Tu ne peux pas les en vouloir. Ils n'ont rien, ils sont en l'air. Ce n'est pas de leur faute.
An indication the Anglophone crisis also affects them.
C'est nous qui souffrons encore plus à leur place.
These as the hungry IDPs harvest from their farms for survival.
Qui a cultivé et c'est pas de leur faute, on ne peut pas les en vouloir parce qu'ils ne sont pas dans leur place.
However, no need to blame or cast them away.
On doit les en vouloir comment? Ils sont chez eux. Quand ils étaient chez eux, est-ce qu'ils avaient pleuré?
The year 2020, they commit into the hands of God.
The Mungo division in the Littoral region of Cameroon is one of those areas hosting a great number of internally displaced persons coming from the northwest and southwest regions. Many of the internally displaced are living in deplorable conditions as some of them are unable to afford for their basic needs. Limited access to education for children due to frequent attacks on schools by the armed groups has led to a jump to capacity in many schools in the area. Government Bilingual High School, Suza, for example, is hosting 600 displaced kids. Government Bilingual High School, Jombe, 200, and finally Government Bilingual High School, Lum Maningwasa, with a total of 350 IDPs. In a bid to alleviate their sufferings, the Ministry of Secondary Education offered didactic materials to some schools in the Mungo division.
And some of them never had even a pen, let alone talk about an exercise book to copy the notes. Honestly, today, those students are singing. For yesterday they were orphans, but today they have a mother.
Came to Suza because there was no school going on there, so we decided to come to school here. Because here we don't even have money to pay school fees nor books. But we are very grateful for the minister that sent us this book, and we are very happy. Once they had that peace, she should keep on doing it with us, and we are very happy that she cares for us. Thank you very much.
Indeed, a great pleasure that about 120 students have each received at least a textbook, an exercise book, a pen, a pencil from the minister's gift to the internally displaced students.
Many other IDPs are still in need of humanitarian assistance and are calling on administrative authorities to do something to improve their situation.
Hundreds of thousands of persons kicked out of their homes in the northwest and southwest regions of the country by violence, and they are now seeking refuge in parts of the country, and others are refugees in neighboring Nigeria. Now out of Cameroon, a World Health Organization emergency committee warns that the Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo remains a global health threat, despite significant progress in containing the spread of the deadly virus. And the World Health Organization reports a total of 3,000 2,431 cases of Ebola, including 2,253 deaths in North Kivu and Ituri provinces. An emergency committee declared the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo a public health emergency of international concern in July last year. In a review of the current situation, members of the committee said it was premature to declare the global threat over. Talking Point is up next. Thanks for staying with us in Talking Points. We are receiving a political analyst, member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party. TAYONG Elvis, welcome.
Thank you very much, Babila Jonathan. Special greetings to the people of Gunoko village and all the militants of Cameroon Renaissance Movement and sympathizers who actually want a change in this country.
Before we talk about the statement issued by your political party on the 9th February municipal and legislative elections in Cameroon, you take as a political analyst on the two elections that took place in Cameroon simultaneously.
Well, I think as a political analyst, I must be honest with you that if I go by the twin elections, I will say that this is the last straw that has been able to break the camel's back as far as the democratic process in the country is concerned. I will say so because if you look at it from all the ramifications, you will discover that it is a farce of the first order. And you know that these are issues that could have been corrected before elections. But if you look at the way it moved in the midst of gunshots, in the midst of boycott, which we ourselves, CRM, activated, and you know, it affected the turnout. And you see, the only good thing I would say is that I'm happy with the Episcopal Council. I'm happy with a handful of the administrative authorities who were honest to tell you to give you the exact percentage of abstention from the election. That tells you that it's a call for consent. So I think people are beginning to be conscious because of the foundation we have been able to lay. And so at the end of it, we are looking at it, are we interested in political position, or are we interested in political position over the lives of people who are dying in the North and the Southwest region? It's a call for concern, and the electoral reforms, from every indications, I think from what African Union said, you discover that this is the first time I see them coming out clearly to tell you that they need to work on the electoral reform. So you will be a mayor, you will be a councillor, you will be a parliamentarian, but the legitimacy will be where the question mark lies.
And the National President of the Cameroon People's Party, CPP, Kabanwala Ejit, says that no credible election can be organized in Cameroon without a revision of the electoral code, and this can only happen after a political transition, because to the CPP, to the Stand Up for Cameroon civil society platform, the present regime of President Paul Biya will never allow that to happen. Do you think this can only happen after a political transition, after power moves out of the hands of President Paul Biya and his collaborators?
Yes, I think from that direction, I would not dispute what the CPP president said, Madam Kawala, because if you look at it, from the time our party started clamoring for no to war in the Northwest, Southwest, we started this issue as early as the crisis were, and we realized at each point we were being it was like we were singing a song. And so with repeated calls, if you look at the farce of the national dialogue, which does not even reflect national dialogue, if you look at the cosmetic solutions that are put in place, if you look at the armored cars administrative authorities get in to go into war-torn areas, if you look at the gunshots that characterize before, during, and after elections, it tells you that she is but right, that if you want change to be, that's why with the president-elect putting in place some measures, he said clearly that electoral reforms, if they're not there, you cannot have a change. And for the fact that we clamor, and the things are not changing, they are not bringing the right solutions to the Northwest, Southwest, despite the masquerade presentation you find them presenting on TV and all the like, it means that they are not willing. Therefore, it is a carefully calculated attempt to let things be the way they are now.
Your political party decided not to take part in the elections and called for a boycott of the elections, and there was a low turnout of voters, not only in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, but in other parts of Cameroon. There was some sort of a higher manifestation of voter apathy. Is it a victory to the CRM?
It is a victory to the CRM, yes, but we think that apart from the fact that it was a victory, it's also a sign to show that people are not happy with the present system. Look at the election, Babylon. You're a journalist, I'm a journalist. Does it sound clear to you that one party at the present stage of multipartyism, as they say in quotes, will clear the entire councils, clear parliamentary seats at random? It means that we are all dead human beings on earth. It cannot happen under normal circumstances. Therefore, from every indication that we see, is just to tell you that the government in place is heading towards doom. And we cannot fold our arms. Like CRM, our own is to tell people what they need to do. And sometimes it's honorary not to take part in a wrong process that will put in place wrong persons than to take part in it and wrong persons are put in place before you start complaining. It doesn't make sense in that case. So we thought that staying aloof, boycotting the elections, we are not taking part in putting in place wrong persons. As you will find, you will get the results. We are moving from what we call in pidgin, from fry pan to fire, because there's nothing to offer. Because if you look at the persons, many are opportunists. Many who could not be under normal condition if the level ground was made are today parliamentarians, as they call themselves. Today are mayors and all the like. What do you expect from this category of persons? Is to put the country down the drain. We are in a mess as we speak.
Now, some politicians, notably those of the CPDM political party, and even some legal minds, are saying that the fact that the CRM decided to boycott the elections, it's okay, it's good for the militants, but causing other people not to exercise what is their civic right, not to go and vote, is a violation of the law, and so a criminal act.
Well, people could interpret it the way they want to be, the way they want to interpret. But we think that it is our duty to educate people on the right thing. And so,
to tell them not to go and vote?
If you tell people not to vote and you give them a reason, some might judge it as you are against the law, because we think that a civic responsibility is for people to be aware of the kind of persons. Now, Babylon, it's not just a matter of voting for voting's sake. What kind of persons? For the previous years, over 37 years, you will bear with me that voting has been taking place day in, day out. CPDM has been sweeping overwhelming majority from 148 to 150 to 159 out of 180 parliamentarians in a country that has about 200 and above political parties. Does it sound normal? It tells you that at a point in time, you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. What is our own assignment? Our assignment, our civic duty as patriotic citizens in this country is to inform people that you better be careful, because the next time you will come complaining, and what the Civil Constitutional Council will tell you is irreservable, as they say in French. We don't want to be caught in that, and so we think that we get the right education and people followed it, people understood it, not that we are not patriotic as people will interpret. We are trying to put the country on the verge. As I let you know now, what the masquerade has taken place, from what the African Union spoke in their press conference and what other international observers say, it is a total disgrace to a democratic process. That is something we would have avoided to keep the image of the country fine. But running an election inside gun battle and all the like, at the end for government officials to say it went on hitch-free because they rigged the elections and they want the elections in the name of winning, which is in quotes, it's a call for concern. At the end, where are these persons taking this country to? I think we are all Cameroonians. We will not fold our arms and say because the law says, why we see the country go down the drain. This country is not meant for some persons than all of us, including you, as Cameroonians.
Despite the decision of the CRM to boycott and the call on others, other Cameroonians to boycott, and of course the low turnout, according to the figures at our disposal coming from across the country, which you consider that as a victory, in the next 5 years, the CRM will not have a single municipal councillor. The CRM will not have a parliamentarian. The CRM is considered by some analysts as dead after these elections.
Well, that is what they think. CRM comes up with a different new political ideology. If you listen to our president-elect, Professor Maurice Kamto, talk, one message is clear to the public, militants and sympathizers. CRM was not formed with the intention of coming to grab seats. I want to let you know, Babylon, even when
the intention of every political party is to take power.
I am coming. For CRM, our modus operandi and main objective is first to create change in the system. Creating change by what do? we are able to press on the government to change the electoral reforms and to do other things. Power comes, Babila.
Changing the system?
Changing the system.
Making change in the system.
Making changes in the system, so to say. And in making of the changes in the system, one thing is clear, Mr. Babila. You cannot get into a wrong system and start complaining, because from the past 37 years, we tried that. Other political parties tried that. By next week, you will hear litigations at the Constitutional Council. It will be as usual complaints. What will be the result? The CPDM will still grab. So we think that what we need to do at this point in time is for us not to, as our objectives, to fight to gain seats and all the like, because we think the status quo of Cameroonians, their well-being is first at the top. If we say no to the war in the northwest and southwest, it doesn't mean that if we went in, we would have had maybe 30, 40, or even 70 parliamentary seats. Our concern first is that, are the people fine? If the people are fine, it is their fundamental right.
And to fight for the people, you need to be in positions of power.
Some people think,
and in the next 5 years, the Social Democratic Front, the PCRN, or the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation, and other political parties will be fighting for Cameroonians in parliament at the level of the councils. Good. The CRM will be absent.
This is where you get it very wrong, Mr. Babila. Any political party that sets in the National Assembly, you will get to understand that their presence there has nothing to do. As they have been singing in the parliament, has anything changed? Therefore, it's not political parties that have 7 seats, 2 councils, that changes. Our point is that we have first the main objective to educate Cameroonians in general. Once Cameroonians have a new breed that getting into politics is not a matter of fighting for the stomach, because what Cameroonians have been pushed to now is barely politics. And that's what is killing us, because a man gets 1 or 2 seats, he becomes comfortable, and that is where you see us going down the drain. So the new political breed we come up now is that first we should be able to educate people. Once people get educated at a particular point, I tell you, even those that have 2 or 3 seats will not change a dime, because how do you change when somebody has 158 parliamentary seats? You will be singing a song. Therefore, your presence will just be a mockery in any of those institutions. Thank you.
Thanks, TAYONG Elvis, political analyst, member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party. Thanks for coming.
Thanks very much, and greetings to each and everyone watching us right now.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.